Hello and welcome to our Saturday live show. Hope you're all doing okay. Now, before we begin, let's start with a sound check and let's make sure everything is working okay. So if you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know in the comments box below. Okay, I see it loud and clear. Welcome everyone. I would like to welcome you all to our Saturday live show. We are going to be designing a website for vloggers, absolutely from scratch. So if you're not here last week, we created the landing page, the main page, which I'll show you in a minute. And then we're going to now proceed and design the footer and some of the inside pages. Now, before we begin, I would like to say welcome to Renee, Monique, Mauro, Suzanne, Jim, Brenda. We also have Maria, Jim, Agante, good to see you all. We also have Rebecca and Gabriela. Excellent, excellent. So over here, let's have a look. We also have Reland from Norway. Good to see you too. I think this is the second time we've had someone from Norway. Excellent. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue from where we left off last week and show you how to design a website from scratch. Now, this is an interactive live workshop. So you get to ask me questions if you have any questions. And if you also have any suggestions while I'm designing this, you can go ahead and give us your suggestions. We can discuss this as we go. All right. So let's see here. We have quite a lot of people on this live stream. We have almost 60. That's amazing. Right now, before we begin, I also like to say, if you're not a member of Mac University yet, I would recommend that you join the membership. There's quite a lot of courses that will be added to the library, and you also get to get these one-to-ones and live workshops. So it's only $17 per month, and this price is also going to be going up as I add more and more content, and also as I start introducing some masterminds. All right, and also if you haven't bought Divi, there's a link I've included there in the description. If you buy Divi using that link, you get my free Divi Blueprint 3 course and also Photoshop for beginners. All right, so with that out of the way, let me show you what we designed last week, and then we can go ahead and continue. Right, so I'm just going to switch over here to my desktop. Excellent. So this is working this time. Because last time when I changed the screen resolution, this wasn't working well. So this looks fine. So please just confirm that you can see the whole screen there before I begin. Because last time I tried this didn't work. Okay, so okay, fantastic. It looks good. All right, so for those of you that did not see the page we designed last week, this is the actual page. So this is the main hero area. So as I scroll down here, we also have a video. And then we have a gallery images there. And we also have an opt-in form. So if I click here on Enable the Visual Builder, this is where you actually get to see the form that we designed. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down again. So that is the form that we designed. In fact, I don't know why we have this. Let me just delete that. Okay, so that's the form that we designed. Now, the form will only show once you link your form with your autoresponder. So right now, it won't show when you go in the preview mode. All right, so with this done, now let's go ahead and start designing the footer for our website. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we are going to exit from this, and then we're going to build the footer from scratch and then make it global. So I'm just going to save and exit. Okay, right. So I'm going to come over here and just create a brand new page. Or in fact, I can just create the footer onto this. So let's go ahead and do that. It's easier that way. Right, so our footer here, I'm going to click this plus button. I'm going to add a regular section. And then I'm going to add 4 columns. Right. So now we need to decide what we're going to have in these columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the first one here as it is. And then I'm going to come over here to the second one and add a text module. So here we are going to be adding the titles for these footers. So the first one here is going to be about. Okay, I'm going to assign this to heading 2. And then we're going to go in and customize it. So I'm going to come over here to design, heading text, heading 2. So I'm going to make it all caps. I'm going to reduce the size a little bit. I'm going to add some letter spacing. I think about 3 is fine. And I'm also going to make this bold. Right, so that's looking great. So this is where now we get to decide what color our footer is going to be. So we've been using black all along. So I'm going to play around with a few colors here and see which color is going to work with our footer. Right, so I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on background. So I'm going to start by adding my background colors. I'm not sure about that one. Let's see. We could go extreme and have our footer like that, but again, not really sure about that. So let's just try different options. Okay, I think I'll go with this color here. I'm going to go with this as the footer color. And that's also a color from our color palette. So let's go ahead now and start designing the footer. So I'm going to come back over here to my text and make sure that it's easier to read. So I'm going to come over here to design heading text. Then I'm going to change my color. In fact, let me click here on this brush tool. And then I'm going to change the color. Right, so that's a bit too much. So I'm just going to lower it by coming over here to the icon and adding some transparency to it. Okay, so that's looking great. Right, so the next stage now is to add my links. So again, we need a text module. So I'm going to search for it, select it. So how I'm going to add my links here is just like in a straight line. So I'm going to start here with adventures. My next link is going to be, let me have a look here what we have. So we have blog, shop. Okay, so we're going to add a shop, add a blog. And contact. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now the next stage is to just come in here and add a link to our pages. So I'm going to insert a link. So for now, I'm just going to add these as blank links just to make things easier for me. But once I update this, I'm going to actually add the actual links to these links that I'm creating here. Now, I also would like to open this in a new window. So I'm going to click here on new window, click OK. Now you can just go ahead and continue adding this to the rest of the pages. Open new window, click OK. We're going to do the same to the blog. So occasionally, I'm going to be looking at my comments here just to make sure that I'm not missing any comments. Right, so finally, we have the contact. I'm going to add insert link, add a blank link, and then I'm going to open this in a new window. Click OK. So that's looking good. Let's have a look here on our preview. So these are our links. So what I'm going to do again here is to go in and customize this one more time. So I'm going to click here on design. Then I'm going to click on this brush tool so I can go directly to the item. Now, when I was doing working on my footers, I couldn't find out how to customize this, and that's because I hadn't selected this tab right here. You need to make sure you select this tab, because this is where you get the controls of these links. Right, so let's make our size slightly smaller because we don't want this too big. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this to about let's say 15. Let's try light. In fact, I think I like light, so let's make this 16. No, in fact, 15 is good. All right, so 15 is good. And then I'm going to come over here and let's see what we can do with our line height. Can we make it any smaller? That's not making a major difference. Okay, so we're going to leave that as it is. For our letter spacing, I'm going to leave that as it is as well. and then we're going to save. Right, so right now, as you can see, our links here are too far from our title. So what you can do is, in fact, before we do anything here, let me add a line which divides my text and my links. So to do that, I'm going to add a divider. Go ahead, select that. So that's my divider right there. And the color, let me see, I'm just going to go with, in fact, I'll leave the color as it is. And then I'm going to save changes. Right, so now we need to move adventures, blog, all these links closer to the line, just to make sure that everything is rearranged correctly. So I found a quick way to do this. And what we're going to do is to go into our module settings, design, transform, and then I'm going to click here on transform, translate. So all I have to do now is to drag this. As you can see, as I'm dragging this to the top, it's getting closer to my title there. And then let's do the same over here to this text. Click on this gear icon, design, and then transform, transform, translate, drag this up until you're happy with the positioning. So I think that's close enough. And then here, I'm just going to add 0 because I want to make sure everything is in a straight line. Okay, so that looks great. I really like the way that's looking now. So next, I'm just going to copy this, this column here into the next column. So I'm going to hold on my command key, and then I'm going to do multi-select. I'm not sure if this is a glitch or something is going on here. Okay, I think that's all selected. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy. If you're on a PC, it's Control C. And then come over here, paste. Now it's not pasted in the right order, so I'm just going to drag this into position. Drag this to the bottom. So I'm not sure why that happened, because usually when you copy and paste, things usually just go into place without being mixed up like this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here is to just copy the title and the divider line. So again, I'm going to hold down my command key. This is strange. Anyway, right, I think it's selected now. No, in fact, it's not. This is weird. Anyway, I'm going to do the old school way. Duplicate this and duplicate the line. Drag it into position over here to the right. This is strange. I don't even know why this is happening. All right, I'm going to duplicate this one more time and then just drag it into position. Ah, that's weird. All right, now I've got another trick up my sleeves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my wireframe mode, and then I'm just going to drag it here and place it into position, just like that. Okay, so sometimes when you're finding it difficult to drag and drop things in the builder, you just go to your wireframe mode and do it that way. Okay, so I'm back now over here. So this one here is going to be our social follow. Okay, so I'm just going to click here on this gear icon and then just changes from about us to follow me. Okay, just like that. I'm going to save this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my social media buttons. Excuse me. Click here on this plus button, and then I'm going to type social media follow, and we're going to add all our social media links. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, and this time we're going to add Instagram. Go back over here, click this plus button, and what else can we add? Let's add YouTube. Okay, so that's looking great. Now, what we need to do, since we have all our branding colors in place, we would like this to really resemble our colors on our branding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and change the colors of these icons. So I'm going to start here with Facebook, click on background, And I'm going to add our own background color here. So let me see which one works great. So I think I'll go with this. Okay. Save that. In fact, before I save, let me see if I can copy this background. Paste item styles. So you can see here, if I do paste item styles, this will change the colors really fast. So all my colors now have been updated. Now we have our social icons, which have a color from our branding. Okay, so again, I'm going to come over here to design, transform, translate. I'm going to drag this to the top so it's closer to the top, just like what we did before. All right, so that's looking great. I'm going to save this for now. Now let's decide what we're going to have here in the middle. Okay, so we have about, we have follow. So what else can we add here on our website? Perhaps maybe we could add the shop details. So I'm going to click here on this gear icon. Shop. Right, so I'm going to save this. Now let me add the details for the shop. So I'm going to click here on this icon. So instead of having adventures here, we can have privacy policy. Right, I've got some questions over here. I'm just going to attend them in a minute. Let me just add my links over here. So privacy policy, let's add terms and conditions. Okay, and then here we're going to add the shop. And then contact. I think contact is fine. All right, so let's save this. So now our footer is really taking shape. It's looking good. So I'm going to take some time now and respond to a few questions that we have here. So Maria here says, wireframe mode, is that the backend? Right. So the wireframe mode is not exactly the backend, but it's very close. In fact, the backend builder is going to be, I need to be a full screen while I'm explaining this. Okay, here we go. This is strange. Oh, there we go. All right. So the wireframe mode. So the wireframe mode is very similar to the backend builder, but it is not the backend builder. It's more advanced. It has slightly more features. And in fact, I'm going to tell you some insider information. The backend builder is actually going to be replaced by this new wireframe mode. It's very intuitive. It has more features and it works really great. So as you can see here, it's just pretty much the same as the backend builder. You can add things, you can copy and paste, drag and drop. So it's I would say it's the version 2.0 of the backend builder. So if you prefer designing your websites in the backend builder, this is where you need to go, wireframe mode. Okay. Right. Let's see. Brenda says, I didn't know Transform did that. Yeah, in fact, you know what? I was playing around with that Transform thing and I saw I could move things around on the page. It's really cool. Right, I can't pronounce his name, but Henrik, I think. Henrik, if I pronounce it wrong, please forgive me for that. But anyway, the question is, hi, Mac, when using this transform tool, does it stay in the same position on mobile? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick experiment and see if it stays in the right position. So I'm going to switch back over here. In fact, let me see if I have any more. Nita, I think, says, do you check mobile settings as you design now? Right now, for the sake of this live workshop, I am not going in to check the mobile view because of time. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a session where I just go through the whole website and make sure everything looks great on the mobile, or perhaps I can just show you a few things and then you can go ahead and do the rest. But this is purely because of the live workshop. But I recommend that every time you design, you have to go in and make sure you check all these views and make sure everything's looking great. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, let me see if I have any more questions. Brenda says a session on adjusting for mobile will be great. Yes, I think that will be great, and we are going to have that coming soon. Okay, so I have a question here. How can I join the academy? I am going to add a link in the comments box. Now, there's a question here. Can we not use the footer build using the Divi builder through the site? Yes, you can do that. In fact, there's a way you can build a footer whereby you can just go in and create this from, in fact, let me switch over here so I can show you. Right, so let me show you here. Right, so I'm going to open this in a new tab so that it's easy for me to show you. Let's cancel this. So I've got two things I need to go through here. I need to go through the footer itself and also, right, so if we come over here to appearance, widgets, we can also build our footer this way. So you can see here we have footer area 1, footer area 2. So we can actually drag the navigation here, add it here, give it a title. So let's call this About. You can select the menu here. So this is another way of creating your menu. So for area 2, I'm going to click on Save. Done. Area footer 3, we can add an image if you wanted to. Okay, let's select an image here. So let's go with, let's say, right there. Okay, so that's our image. Save that. And we can add as many footer areas as we want. So now that I've saved this, let's take a look at the website. So as you can see, I've added that image, and this is my these are my links here that I've just added using the widgets. Now, the reason why I don't like using the widgets is I have very little flexibility. Like, for example, if I wanted to change the font here and also the colors, this takes the colors of my theme, and it's quite difficult for me to customize this. So that is why I don't use this. But of course, this would quickly create a footer, for your website if you just want to apply something across the board quickly. But I don't use that for purely that reason. So that is why I prefer the customized version. Okay. So here I can add videos, I can add so much stuff, and there's a lot of flexibility. I can even go in here and add section dividers. In fact, we're going to be doing this in a moment. So this is the reason why I prefer doing it that way. But of course, either way works really well if you prefer doing it that way. Okay, so moving on. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make some customizations now to our footer here. So I'm going to click here on this. In fact, let me add a bit of padding here because I'm going to add a section divider. So I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on design, dividers. So this divider here is going to be on the top. So make sure top is selected. So this is where now you can get to choose, the different designs. Now look at that. You can choose any design you want over here. So the one I'm going to go with is just something very basic. Let me see. I don't think this works with our design. I want something with angles. Okay, let's try this one here. In fact, no, I don't like that one. So this is where you can just play around and see which design, works with your layout. So I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Okay, so that's going to be my section divider. Go ahead and save. Now, at the moment, we don't have a logo to add on here, but this is where it's time you'd want to add a logo over here. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is. But in fact, let me see if I can find a logo here. It doesn't look really balanced. So I'm going to search for image. Hopefully I'll be able to find one of those. Yeah, in fact, there is. We have these basic logos here. So I'm just going to use this as a placeholder for now. So there's our footer. We have our shop, about, follow me, and so on. Our subscribe here is on the top, but of course, if we decide to add this to the bottom, we can actually add it right here at the bottom of our page. So I'm going to save that. Okay. So now that we have this, the next stage is to save this as a global item. So I'm going to click here on this little button here, which is pointing down. Save to library, and then we're going to call this main footer. Okay. Save to library. So now, oh, there's one thing I forgot to do, and this is very important. Let me do this one more time. Main footer. You need to make sure you click on this checkbox which says make this item global item. Okay, this is very, very important because in the future, if you decide to change something or add something on here, the changes will be applied across the whole website. Okay. So now I'm going to save this to the library, and now you can see the color here has changed. So at any point, if I decide, okay, you know what, I don't want this section divider, I can just go in and make some changes to it. Okay, great. So now that we have this, I'm going to save. So now we have our footer right there. Now, since we're talking about footers, do you see here where it says designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress? Now, I don't really like that. Let's change that. So let me show you where you can change this, okay? So I'm going to come over here to Theme Customizer. Go to the footer elements. So here you can see these social icons. We don't need these anymore because we have our social icons here on the top. So I'm going to disable that. Go back. Bottom bar. So here is the footer credits. So now we're going to say designed by Mac. Then I'm just going to add the year 2019. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as that. Okay. Now, if you want to add some links to that, you can also add some HTML code. So that will work fine here if you add your HTML code. So let's say I want to make Mac bold. You can just add the strong tag. Like that. And hopefully you're able to see that. Okay, so Mac now has become bold. And of course, if you want to add some links on the bottom there, you can just add your links, but you need to add them as HTML. All right, so I'm going to publish this. And now if we take a look at our website, oops, see, now that footer is still showing. I need to get rid of it. So delete that. Delete that. Okay, so I think that's all we have. So now let's refresh our page. Great. So now we have our own custom footer, and we also changed the text here right at the bottom of the page. Okay, so this looks great. I'm really happy with this page. Now let's move on and create the next page. And this page is going to be the adventure page, which is also going to have our gallery of images on that particular page. So I'm going to click here on my menu, click on adventures. Right, Monique here says, would you change the background color of the bottom bar to match the one on the section about it? All right, let me have a look at that. So I'm going to come over here to Theme Customizer, footer. Okay, so this is where we change our colors. So Monique here is saying, I'm not sure the section about it. Which section is that? Monique, which color do you want me to add? Which section is it? Above it, okay. Yes, we could do that. So let's find the color here. So I'm just going to go to my settings. No, I need to go to theme options. Okay, so I'm not sure which color I used there. In fact, the easiest way is to go in and check the color itself. Right, so I'm just going to go in and check the color. Okay, so this is the color. I'm just going to copy it like that. And then we're going to add this color to the background. Okay, so now it's changed. That's looking great. And now I need to change the text color, make sure that it matches the colors from our branding. That's not what I intended to do. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Right, so for our text color, I'm going to come over here to text. Okay, I'm just going to use a gray for now. Okay, so now that's published. Now let's refresh this page and see what this looks like. Okay, so now we can see the bottom footer here looks exactly as the footer that we have here. Now, there's one more thing that we could actually do here, and that is to add a line to just distinguish, this main information here from the design by information. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, this is also great because this is where you get to see how this global item actually works. Okay, so I'm going to close this for now. And then I'm going to go into my builder. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to add a new row. And in that row, I'm going to add a divider. Select that. So that's our divider line. So the color is a bit too much, so I'm going to reduce the opacity like that. We're going to come over here to the spacing, and I'm going to reduce, the padding and also the margins, and then save. Okay, so that's looking good. And then here on the height, I'm just going to reduce that because the line is a bit too far there. Okay, so I think that looks great. I'm going to save this. Now let's go in and design the adventure page. So we're going to save this, exit the Visual Builder. Okay, so that's looking better. Right, so to do that, we're going to come over here to the dashboard, pages. I'm going to click on edit. So this is our adventures page, edit with the Divi Builder. And then we are going to go and build this from scratch. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to add a page title. So it's going to be a full width, and it's a post title actually. Okay, So now this post title needs some customization. So first of all, I'm going to start working on this with a background, okay? Because I really want to see what I'm adding here and what I'm adjusting before I start adding all my images. All right, so now that we have this, I'm going to save this for now and then delete the one that I have on the top there. Now, the reason why we're having this page title is because we want all our pages to have the titles by default. This will save us time to go in and add all these page titles every time we create a page. So as you can see here, it's brought in our information. So I'm going to go back in and make some customizations to my text. So this page title here, I'm going to start with the title. And what we're going to do is we are going to add a color to this, okay? And then over here, we're going to make this extra bold. We're going to make it all caps. And now let's increase the size. So we're going to make it about, let's say, 60. Okay. Now over here where it says Mac admin, blah, 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 I can decide what I need to get rid of. So I'm going to come back over here to the content. And then I'm going to click on elements. So I don't want to show the author. And the comments is fine. In fact, if you want to remove everything here, it is fine. You can just remove everything. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this as it is. In fact, I'm going to make some customizations to that. I'm going to make this light and reduce the size a little bit. Okay, just about 13. And then I'm also going to add some letter spacing. No, in fact, letter spacing is not working for this. All right, so I'm happy with the adventures there. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some padding to this, okay? So I'm going to start with, let's say, 10%. Then I'm just going to increase a little bit more. So this is what's going to be here on the top on my page. Now, what I can also do here is I can actually save this as a global item, so I can use in future pages that I need to create. So first of all, you want to make sure that you get it right, okay? So I think this is the right position. In fact, let me save this and let me add my footer as well. Now, if you want to add that footer that we designed earlier on, you can click here on this plus button, add from library, and then here you can see we have our main footer. So if I do that, now my footer has been added. So all I have to do now is to start adding all my content. Okay, so I'm going to click this plus button, click on regular, single column, and then we're just going to close that. So this is where our content is going to come. So now this is giving us a rough idea of where our page heading is going to be. In fact, you can play around with this. You can go back in and make some adjustments here to the padding. So I'm pretty much happy with this. I'm going to make this a global item. So I'm going to come over here. In fact, let's make this slightly bigger, Click here on this little brush tool. That's going to take me straight to my text. Okay, so let me make this slightly bigger, and then I'm going to check the mobile and make sure that everything is looking great. All right, so I'm going to click on this little icon here. Now, this allows us to see how things look on the tablet. And as we can see here on the tablet, it's not too bad. And then on the phone, now this is where things are not looking great because my word here has been split into 2 lines, okay? So I am going to reduce this to about even as low as 42, okay? Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with that now. I'm going to save this, and then I am going to save this as a global item, okay? So I'm just going to call this page headers. So for this, I am not going to make it global because we are going to be adding images behind here, and these images are going to be different on different pages. Okay, so that's the only difference here. So I'm going to save this to the library. Now I'm going to go in and customize this. So I'm going to come over here to background. Click here on the third tab and click the plus button to add our image. So since this is the adventure page, let's add something a bit more adventurous. Right, so I'm going to click upload an image. And right away, we can see here that this image looks great for our page. I really like that. And over here, we can also add parallax if you want to, but of course, I prefer just having it this way. Okay, now over here, this image position, this is where you want to play around with this and see what works best for you. So you can choose bottom center. So now we get to see more of the guy here. Or we can say bottom left. In fact, that's not making a change. So I'm just going to leave it at bottom center, okay? Okay, that's looking great. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add a gradient, because as you can see at the top here, things look very bright. So let's change this by coming over here to our gradient, okay? So I'm going to click here on add gradient, and I'm going to use black as my first color. And I'm going to add full transparency to this, drag this all the way down. And then you want to place your gradient above the image. So as you can see now, my gradient has been added, and now this looks much, much better. Of course, we are going to make a few adjustments here and make sure that we have more space at the top. All right, so now that we have this in place, let's see if we can add a bit of transparency to that black, because it's a bit too much. Okay, so I'm just going to drop this down a little bit. So I think that looks much better. Great. Now I'm going to come over here to design spacing. Now this is where things, take a bit of time, because you want to make sure that things are in the right place. So I think 20% here on the top looks great. Now I'm going to come to this text, change it to white, so it's easier to read. And I think that's my heading area ready. Okay, so I like that. Now over here, we're going to add a gallery to this. Okay, so I'm going to click this plus button, search for my gallery module, and select it. Right, so let me just take a look here and see if we have any questions. Crates Gaming says this is a recorded session as the chat does not match with what you're referring to. Well, this is not a recorded chat. I mean, a recorded session. As you can see, I'm responding to your question here in real time. Okay. All right, so we're going to continue here. So I'm going to start adding all my images to my gallery. So to do that, I'm going to click this plus button. Okay. So I'm going to start with these images here of the cities. So we're just going to assume that this guy has visited all these cities. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 images. In fact, let's add 12. Okay, 12 images. I'm going to go ahead and click on select. And then over here, the number of images, we're going to set this to 12. Right. So now that we have 12 images, the next thing we're going to do here is to remove the title caption and the page and the show pagination. Okay. So now all we have is just the images. So that's looking great. The next thing we're going to do now is to reduce the space between these columns here. I mean, these images. So to do that, you want to come over here to design, layout. This is strange. Has that changed? This is weird. Oh, you know what? I'm checking this at the wrong in the wrong screen. Let me save this. We need to be in the row settings. So I've clicked here on the row settings. Click on design, sizing. Now, first of all, we want to change our width. So let's set it to about 80% here. Okay, so our width is 80%. We're going to center it. Now over here on the gutter width, this is where you can reduce the space between the images. So I'm bringing it all the way down so that we don't have any spaces between the images. Now I'll show you in a minute how we're going to be adjusting that so that we have a custom spaces between the images. Okay, so now that we have this in place, let's save this and let's see what it looks like so far. Okay, so that looks great. Now I am going to go into my images, gallery settings, design, and then you want to come over here to border. Okay, so we're going to increase our border size here. So I think about maybe 6 is fine. And then all you have to do now is to either make the background transparent, or you can add a specific color. But you know what? Transparent looks much better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and save. So now we have our page. So what I'm going to do next now is to just drag this to the top like that. Okay, so we want this to be sort of like going into our top image right there. Okay, like that. So I think that looks great. Now let's add some padding to this. So I'm going to come over here to design, spacing, and our padding here. Let's add 15. Okay, so I think that looks great now with our padding. All right, so now if we decide to add a color to our border, that means everything is going to look, much better. As you can see here, in fact, this is how you can test this to see if the padding is correct. So let's go back here over here to the sizing. To the spacing. Right, so we're going to increase this a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to go back over here to my borders and just make sure that it's set to transparent. Okay, and then we're going to save that. So I'm going to save the page now because the page has the footer. It has all my images. So the only thing that we need to do now is to adjust our colors here, because right now our colors don't look right. So I'm going to come over here to my module settings. And then we're going to come to, I think it's overlay. Okay, so the overlay, we're going to play around with the colors here as well. So the icon can be, let's change the icon color, and the overlay, we're going to add some transparency to the overlay like that. Okay, now the icon color, I think that can be white. Okay, that looks better. And then we can also change the icon itself and then save. All right, so now that we have everything all in place, let's save the page and let's take a look at this design. All right, so we can see here, this is our page title. This is our gallery. That's our footer. So that's how we create the adventures page. So any questions so far? In fact, someone here, I think it's Mike, that says, can you show off the new Divi feature with the adjusting the padding inside and outside the boxes? Right, now I could actually maybe show you as I'm designing this site, but of course, if we go in and start talking about that feature itself, I think most people here are here to see how we build this website from scratch. So I think they won't be very happy with that if we turn this into a feature session. Okay, so we have 2 pages set up so far. Now let's have a look here at and see if we have any comments. Henrik says, I noticed that the overall design of the website has a low contrast. Is this a design choice or trend? Just wondering how this works for vision impaired visitors. Right, this is just a design choice. Now, as I mentioned in the first episode, we can also create a lighter version or maybe a light version of this, but this is the dark version. So this is just a design choice, but of course, you can decide what to use in your actual designs. This is not a trend at all. This is just the design that I chose to go with. Now, for the gallery, Maria, I think you're asking here about the border versus the spacing. For the gallery settings, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Right, can you expand on that? I'm not sure what you mean by remembering what to use in the gallery settings. Okay, I'll do a quick overview on how this was created. So basically, I just dragged all my images in here. In fact, let me enable the visual builder here so I can explain this quickly. Okay, so what you want to do is to create a single column and then drag, and then you can either drag all your images in there or you can start adding them manually. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you add them manually. So what I normally do is I would come over here to design and then click on border. Now, this is where you can add your custom border size, because if you don't do it this way, you're now stuck with either adding HTML in your section settings or in your row settings. Now, I don't like really using a lot of CSS, so I'd rather have this in the design view. So this is how I would achieve this setting right here. Now, if we go over here to, let's go to the settings, design, spacing. Now, over here on sizing, you need to make sure that the gutter width is set to 1, because once you leave it at 2, there's no way of customizing this. So the only way to do it is either by CSS or by adding your custom borders in the actual module settings. Okay. Right. Let's have a look here. What else do we have? Creates Gaming says, how can I add an icon in the tab title? Which tab title are you referring to? I'm not sure which tab title you're referring to. So if you can let me know which tab title, and then I can go in and show you how to do it. All right, so this is our adventures page. Now let's move on and create the next page. So I am going to come back over here to Freedom, click on Dashboard, save and exit. So since we're creating all these pages, we might as well go in and create the contact page. So I'm going to click here on all pages. Let's click on Edit. Edit with the Divi Builder. So for this, I'm going to choose a contact page from a pre-made layout. So again, the reason why I'm doing this is just to show you how we can utilize some of these features that we have within Divi itself. So for those of you that haven't used the pre-made layout, this is your opportunity to see how you can quickly change the design of these pre-made layouts and make them yours. So I'm going to come over here and let me see which one I could use. So I'm going to go here to, let's say, travel agency. So here I'm just looking at these contact forms just to see which one I would use for mine. I don't really like that one, but you see, this could take you a bit of time because you need to go in and choose the layout that works with your design. So right now I'm just scrolling through just to see what I can use. So I think I'm going to go with this one right here. I'm going to click on use this layout. So it doesn't really matter which layout pack you use. Even if it's a wedding layout pack, you can always go in and change this and make it yours. Right. So as you can see here, we have this page title already. So we designed ours in earlier on. So we're going to delete this one here. Then let's add our own. So I'm going to come over here to the bottom, click this plus button, add from library, and then I'm going to choose page headers, okay? And then I'm going to drag this all the way to the top. Did that work? No. Again, I'm going to come over here to my wireframe view. And then I'm going to drag this all the way to the top because sometimes it doesn't work really well. So now you can see our full width post title is now all the way at the top. Click here on the front end and you can see our contact page has now been added and that looks great. Right, so what we're going to do now is to go in and add our image. Now notice that the title of the page has been added automatically. Now this is what this is the beauty of using this page title. Okay, so we're going to come over here to the background. Let's choose our image here. So the image we're going to go with is, right, let me go with this one here. Right, so this image here is not showing because we have a background color here. So I'm going to come over here. In fact, we added the image on the wrong place. Let me delete that. So we need to go into the actual module settings, click on background, and then we're going to add our image right here. And we chose this one, upload an image, and you can see here it's nice, it's beautiful. So now again, we need to decide how we're going to position this. So we can either set this to the center, bottom center. Okay, so that's not looking great. Let's see if top center looks better. Yeah, I think I prefer top center. Okay, great. So the next thing we're going to do now is to come over here to our colors. And then I am going to delete this color and add a gradient. And again, it's going to be dark at the top and transparent at the bottom. All right, so I'm going to click here and you can see here my transparency has been added. I'm just going to lower this a bit as well. Not too much. So just about there. Great. So now that we have our page, all we have to do now is to come over here and change this image to our own image. And leave us a note. I don't think we need that. So this is where now you can go in and delete, any stuff that you don't need. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that too. And we don't need this as well. So I'm going to delete that. And then all we have to do now is to add our footer. So I'm going to come over here to add from library, main footer, and boom, our footer now is in place. And that's our contact page. So as I mentioned, I just need to get rid of this image here and choose an image that works with this. So I'm going to delete this and add my own. So I'm going to search for image. Right, so let's see. I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, I'm going to save that. Then I'm just going to position this and just make sure everything is in the same line. Now, when you use a pre-made layout, you want to make sure you go in and change the colors that you have here to match your colors. So I'm going to click here on this contact, and then we are going to go into design. And let's start with the button because the button there is the wrong color. Okay, so I'm going to choose my color. Change my color for the border, and right away you can see my color now has been added, and that looks great. And the next thing is the font. Okay, right now it's on a wrong font, so I'm going to add Poppins as my font. Set this to semi-bold. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Now these fields again, they don't look right, so let's go in and fix this. So I'm going to click here, And you can see here the form field font is Open Sans. Let's change this to Poppins. And right away, this is now matching our design. Now let's go to our form field text color. And again, let's change this color and match it with our own colors from our branding. And there we go. It's looking great. And for the form fields background color, let's come over here and just add some transparency to that. Now we can either do it this way or we can add borders to this. Okay, so let's see what this looks like when you add borders, because I'd really like to make sure that our design here has a specific feel to it, which is not like the generic view that you get when you install Divi. Okay, so over here we have our colors. I think that looks really nice. Okay, save that. So we've just gone in, we've customized our colors, and they look really, really nice. Now let's take a look here. In layouts, you can search for contact or whatever, right? Yes, you can. You can actually go in and search for whatever layer, for the pages that you're looking for. And you can also search for the industry that it is that you're looking for. So let's say it's freelancing or business. You can type in business, and then that search is going to narrow down all those pre-made layouts. Right. Okay, so our page here is now looking great. Oh, there's one more thing I need to do here on the contact. Let's go back in, and I'm going to click here on elements. No, in fact, I need to change this color here. There we go. So now it's clear. Now we can read it. Save that. So we have quite a few pages now in place. We have our footer, we have our contact page, and we also have our hero areas here of our website. So I'm going to save this page and exit the Visual Builder. Okay, so let's go through all our pages now. So we have the home. We also did the adventures page. And now we have the contact page. So we have about 3 pages that we need to do. Right, so what we're going to do now is maybe we could work on the shop page. Now, this is going to take a bit of time because we're going to need to install WooCommerce, and then we also need to customize it to build our shop. So this vlogger, let's assume that they want to sell their own t-shirt, branded t-shirts and so on their website. So this is why we're going to have the shop on the website. Now, before we continue with that, any questions before we continue? If you have any questions, please add your questions in the comments box. Right. Okay. Instead of setting up the shop, why don't we do the blog page? Because I think the blog page is also very, very important here. So I'm going to show you how to create a blog template, and then we're going to apply this template to the rest of our blogs as we build our website. Okay, so let's do that. In fact, oh, I have some questions here. I've got a question here. How would you use this page design? Oh, hang on. Can you show us how to get rid of the design by section at the bottom? I've already done that. Are you going to show us how to set up the blog archive page? Okay, I'm going to. Right. So what do you guys prefer me to do? Do you want me to create the shop page, or should I design the blogs, the blog template? So let's do a quick vote here. So blog template or the shop? So add all your comments, and then I'm just going to take a look here and see which one is more popular. So let's just do a vote. Blog templates or shop? Blog templates or shop? What would you rather see? Okay, I'm going to see here shop. Hey, by the way, you can only vote once, okay? No cheating. Okay, shop, blog, shop, blog, please. I think there's more shop. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, looks like majority want the shop. So we'll start designing the shop, and then we're going to go to the blog page design and the archive page design. All right, so shop it is. So I'm going to switch back over here to my desktop. Roland says, I would really like you to address my question regarding the blog layout versus the template. Right. By default, when you, in fact, let me do this while I'm showing you. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the dashboard, posts, add new. So when you add a blog post, so let's just call this post 2, okay? So here, if you use the Divi Builder, that means each time you go in, you need to actually design the blog page as you would design like you're designing a normal page in Divi. Now that can take you a very long time, and sometimes you can forget how the layout looks like. And this is why we need to create a blog template. However, if you want to use the default editor here, which is the WordPress editor, you can just click here on the editor. Add some text. In fact, let me add some lorem text here so you can see. So here, let's add some lorem text. Okay, so this is just the basic WordPress editor. Okay, it's not using the Divi editor. So we are very minimal in what we can do. So let's add an image here. So I'm going to go with this one here, add my image as my featured image. So as you can see here, there's no Divi being used, okay? Now, if I click on publish and then view the post, this page here is not designed at all. It's just using the basic template that Divi creates for us. So this is where if you want to create a custom page, a custom blog post page, this is where you need to design the page itself, save it as a template, and each time you create a blog post, you apply the template onto your blog post. So that's the main sort of like difference. I hope I've answered that. I hope I've answered that. Okay, Roland, have I answered your question? I understand that, but that is not a template. It's a Divi layout. Yes, you need to load it each time. Yes. So the layout itself, it needs to be loaded each time when you create your blog post. No, you cannot change the styles of your old blog posts. Now, this question here you're asking is very, very important. Now, this would work if we had a theme builder, okay? So a theme builder now, what you would do is you would create the layout, right? Once the layout is complete, there should be an option where it says apply to all blog posts, okay? So if you check that box, apply to all blog posts, this is where now all your previous blog posts will be updated with the new template. So each time you change the template, it can be applied to previous posts. But in this case, at the current moment, we cannot do that. We can only create the template and use it and load it every single time we want to apply it to a blog post. So it's a manual process. Okay. Now I've used Elementor before on some other projects, and they have this theme builder at the moment where you design a layout and then you apply it to all your blog posts. Okay, now this is a feature that we are still waiting for in Divi, and that's in the works. Yesterday, I was reading one of the comments that Nick put out, and it looks like we're going to have this sometime here in April. So I'm really excited about that. But to quickly answer your question, yes, what you're asking would work if you're using a template. I hope I'm answering this correctly, and I hope you're on the same page on that one. Okay, I thought I saw something April the 19th or something on the article. So maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it's 1 to 2 months. You could be right, but I'm not 100% sure with that. Okay, great. Right. So did I say I was creating the shop or the blog post? I think it's the shop. Right. Let's work on the shop now. Right. I'm going to come over here to the dashboard. Right, so what we're going to do now is to create our shop, we need to go to plugins, click on add new. So here we need WooCommerce. Right, so this is the plugin, click install now. So this is going to take a while to load. So while this is loading, the theme builder, I think, is going to be a really big game changer. And the reason why I'm really looking forward to this is usually when Divi, and it might sound like I'm biased when I'm saying this, but usually the application of how Divi adds their features, it has a design aspect to it, a UI aspect to it, which makes it easier to use. So I'm really, really looking forward to see how they're going to apply this and how easy it is going to use and how the UI is going to look like. I mean, you can see with some of these features that we're adding, like for example, the transform, the way it is, I mean, it's so simple to use, whereas other page builders, you have to go in and add like manual numbers. Because I've used quite a lot of these page builders just to see, you know, how the UI is. And to be honest, I think the Divi UI is much, much better. So I'm curious to see how they're going to add the header and footer design and also the theme builder. And the theme builder now is going to be huge because this is going to allow us to build themes that we can sell. So again, this is something that we're going to add in the future where I show you how to create, to build themes that you can also sell. So let's say you're a freelance designer, you can create certain themes and, you know, let's say for the restaurant industry, design those and then sell them to the companies and show them how to customize them. So this is one way you can really make, you know, quite a lot of money by just creating your own themes based on Divi. All right, I digress. This is now added. I'm going to click on activate. So now this is going to get us through this these steps. So you know what? I'm not going to spend time going through setting up all this stuff here. In fact, for the store, in fact, I'll leave it as United Kingdom. Click on let's go. Is there a way to skip this? Anyway, you know what? I'm just going to go in and start adding, you know, my address in here just to go through this, because this is what you also need to do when you start using this. Okay, so the payments over here, this is where you add your PayPal address. For now, I'm going to leave things as default here, but this is where you need to add your PayPal address. And if you have Stripe, I highly recommend that you also set up Stripe if you're going to be creating a shop for your website. So again, I'm going to leave this as the default. Click on continue. Shipping, flat rate. In fact, let me see. Okay, I'm going to leave this at flat rate. Click on continue. In fact, let me set free shipping. I'm going to hit continue. Right, so this is automated taxes and MailChimp. I'm going to disable that because I don't need that. Jetpack, I don't use Jetpack, so I'm going to leave that. And in fact, I'm going to skip the step. And then finally, this is the email. We can also import products, but of course, I don't need to do that. Okay, so it looks like everything is all done now. I'm going to visit my dashboard. And now it's going to be cluttered, you know? So let me get rid of all this stuff here. So this is what happens when you add WooCommerce. It just clutters your main dashboard area. Okay, right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start by adding our products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Pexels or Pixabay and look for some t-shirts to add on here. In your case, if you were to set up this, you would need to add your own designs. So I'm just going to go with some random pictures here. Okay, let's try Pexels. Like we don't have a lot of pictures on this one. Okay, here we go. Right, so I'm gonna start downloading these, and I'm just gonna go with a decent size here of 640. Okay, download that. I'm gonna go with this one as well. So I'm just going with any pictures here which have a t-shirt. Let's download this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 products first, and then I'll show you how to customize it. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here to products, click on add new. And this one here is going to be t-shirt 1. You see, I don't have any creative names to add here. So I'll just call these t-shirt 1, t-shirt 2, t-shirt 3. Okay, we also need here lorem 2 for our descriptions. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to copy our description here for our t-shirt. So the regular price is, let's say, $9. Okay, let's make it 12. And then over here, let's make it 9. Okay, so we have this in place now. Over here, we need to set the product image. So let's upload the images that we've just downloaded now. So I'm going to come over here to downloads, open. Okay, great. Set our product image. So that's going to be our main product image right there. This is going to be our product description. Now over here, we can actually add a product gallery if you needed to, but this we're going to do at a later stage. Right, so now that we have this, I'm going to click on publish. Now let's review what this sort of like looks like before we use the Divi Builder. Okay, so I'm going to click here on preview changes. So this is what it looks like. And we have this sidebar, which doesn't look very, very nice. And this is why we need to use the Divi Builder when we create this shop. All right, so back over here, I'm going to click on use Divi Builder. We're going to build this from scratch. Okay, so over here now, this is this layout. Let's build from the front end, because I'm not used to seeing that layout that I just showed there. This is strange. Okay. So here we have this Divi Builder here, so we can actually go in and add our descriptions. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and add a text module. Now, the thing is, you'll notice that this does not have quite a lot of flexibility in terms of designing our page, but let's just go with what we have here. So this is going to be my description. Save that. Now, there's a lot of spaces here. I'll reduce that. Okay, so we don't have any reviews at the moment. Now, the reason why this is a really cool way of setting up our description page, we can also add other modules here. So let's say you want to add a video which talks about the products. We can just click here on video. And we can see our video is in place. Now let's add an overlay. And I'm going to add my image overlay like that. In fact, that's not a good image. Let's see. All right, I want to go with this one here. Right, so I've just added my overlay image. Now, if I want to reduce the size of this video, I mean, I can just go in and just do it just similar to how we use the Divi Builder, okay? So here, I'm going to reduce my spacing there. And again, we have a lot of space in here. I'm going to reduce that. Okay, so that's looking great. And then over here, we have our description. We can't really do much here because this is what comes in with WooCommerce. Now we have this sidebar, and I don't really like that sidebar. So I'm going to save this page. And then I am going to edit the product. And then over here, we can see we have a page layout. So I can actually say no sidebar. Okay. Click update. And now let's take a look at our page. Okay, so now we can see that the sidebar is gone. So all we have now is the t-shirt, and we also have the description here and the add to cart button. And then over here on the description, we have our video that describes the product, and we also have a brief description here. So this is what the page looks like. Now let's see if we can add more customizations to this. Maria says video size, how to adjust the size in the product description. Okay, let me show you quickly how to do that. So each time you want to adjust any item here, you want to go into the actual item, module settings, click on design, sizing. So over here we have the width, it's set to auto. Look at that. We can reduce this to about 75% or even 70%. Center it. And now we've just reduced the size. If you want to do the same with the text, you can always go in and just make sure you look for sizing. Sizing is what's going to, help you adjust that. Okay. We also have minimum height and all that stuff, but of course we're not going to use that. In fact, I've just messed it up. Okay. Right. So now that we have this, I'm going to save this. Now let's see what else we can do here on this page. So we're going to click on edit product. Now, one of the updates that's going to be coming up as well with Divi is the ability to go in and customize all areas of this product page and also the archive pages. So pretty much we'll be able to design the whole WooCommerce page that comes in by default with elegant themes. Okay, so looks like we can't do a lot here. So let me see what we can do. I can also add another section here. So let's see if we can add testimonials. Okay, I'm just going to add a name there. Add a description. Okay, let's add 4 columns here, or maybe 3. Right, so now let's see if this is going to show our testimonials. I'm going to view the product. So if I scroll down here, now we can see that we can add testimonials here, which I think is great. So I think I'm going to add some testimonials here. So now we can go in and customize this. So the first thing I'm going to do is to come over here to image, click this plus button, and we are going to add an image. So the image that really works well here is a square. So I'm just going to click here on this one here, and I'm going to get rid of the show quote. Okay. Now, since we have a color palette here for our design, let's go ahead and utilize that. Okay, so we're going to add our background here, a background color, change it, and use our own color. So let's see what color works here. Okay, so let's go with that. Next, we're going to come over here to my text description. Now, for my text description here, I am going to I'm going to go with this color here, but my text is way too big. So I am going to come over here on my text size and reduce it a little bit. So I think 14 works fine. And then we're also going to come over here to transform. No, in fact, we need to go to borders and add some rounded corners. So I'm going to add 3. Or maybe even 5. Okay. I'm going to save that. Now I can just duplicate this and drag this into position. Right, so now this is my testimonials. So now we have a description of the product, we have a video to show, and then we also have testimonials here. In fact, let me add a title to that so that the page looks great. So I'm going to search for my text module, and then I'm just going to call this testimonials or happy customers. Okay, I'm going to come over here. We're going to come to the text. Make sure that it's centered. And let's increase the size a little bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. Drag this to the top. And boom, we have our page. And this is more intuitive. You know, when someone comes on this page, they can see the product, the pricing, and they can see the description and everything that they need to know about that particular product. All right, so that's all we have for this page. I'm going to save this. Now we can go ahead and add even more products. So back over here to the desktop. So what we're going to do now is to customize the shop page. So we don't want to use the same shop page that that WooCommerce creates for us, because again, we don't have that flexibility. So what we're going to do here is come over here to pages, click on all pages, because I think we actually have a shop page. And yes, we do right here. Now this page here is created by WooCommerce. So let's have a look at it. So this is the page that's created by WooCommerce. And now, as you can see, there's very little flexibility. So I advise not to use this page. So you want to go in and create your own page. Okay, so let's add our own. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to customize it. So I'm going to call this main shop or start shopping. Make it different. Right, so here we're going to click on Use Divi Builder. Build from scratch. Okay, right. So over here, we're going to add our page title, add from library, and then we're going to go to page headers, drag this to the top. So as you can see, it comes with this Start Shopping as our page title. That's great. Next, you want to come over here now and add our module. Okay, so a single column. So let's see our shop. You can see here we have shop. So we're going to click on that. So here we have recent products. We can also have featured products, sale products, and so on. Okay. We can also have product categories. So let's say you've created categories for your shop. You can only show the categories just on this page alone, and then you can expand this to go to other products. So for now, I'm just going to say recent products, and then I'm going to save. Now you can see here our recent product has been added, and that looks really, really cool. Now this would look much better if we added the rest of, if we add more than one product. So we're going to go in quickly and add 2 more products so that this page looks great. But so let's save this and add 2 products quickly. Okay, so this is our shop. Let's close this. Now we're going to add our products. So this page here as well can be used as a template. So I'm going to save this to the library, and we're going to say product page. Save it to library, and update that. Right. Now it's time to add a new product. So we're going to come over here and we're going to say product 2 or t-shirt 2. Use Divi Builder. Build from scratch. Add from library. In fact, that's strange. I don't see it now. Oh, in fact, we know what? We're supposed to come over here to our products and add it here. So let's say this one here is $12.99. So let's say all these are on sale. Right. We also need our product image. Let's add this guy here. Set it, publish. Let's add another one. So I'm just trying to add all my products here quickly. Add new. Now this is t-shirt 3. Okay, so we're going to come over here to the price again. It's $12.99, $9.99. It's on sale. Product image. Let's go with this one here. Publish. Okay, so now when we come to our shop page, where is it? Let's refresh. Now we can see we have these 3 products and they're all in place. That's looking great. Right, so let's finalize this page now. I'm going to click this plus button and add from library. Let's add our main footer. So now we have our footer in place, but this here does not look centered. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to come over here, put 3 products because we only have 3 for now. So on the elements here, we can actually change the background and show the pagination just in case you have more than 1 product, but we're going to leave this as it is. Come over here to design. So over here, we can also have overlays. Do you notice here that we have this overlay and hover color for our products? I think that's really cool. So let's add a hover color overlay here. And as we did before, we're going to add a bit of transparency to that. Right, I think I'm happy with that. And our hover icon can be white. Okay. Now you can also go in and customize the sale badge. So let's add our own color. So as you can see now, these little items I'm adding here can go a really great length because as we're adding these colors, these are colors from our branding. So it makes our whole page look really, really awesome. Okay. So we have that on the image here. We can also do things like adding some rounded corners. So I'm going to add 5 on my rounded corners. So now I have clean rounded corners there. If you wanted to add borders, we can also go in and add some borders. Okay. Now moving on, there's some box shadows. I won't even bother with that. Now we can also go in and customize our text over here. So as you can see, if we go into the text, we can change the size and everything. So everything looks fine for me here. I'm happy with that. Okay, now let's add a title to this. So if we had one more product, now this would show here and this would balance the page. So I'm going to add the title here. And this is going to be a text module. I'm just going to call this My Shop. Okay, so again, I'm going to come over here to design. Text, and then we're going to center it. I'm going to make it slightly bigger and save. Okay, we're going to drag this to the top. Okay, now over here on the top, this is where now we can customize this as well and make it look really awesome. So we're going to come over here to our, in fact, that's the wrong place. We need to come over here to my module settings, click on background, and then we can add our image. So the image I'm going to go with here is, let me see. So we want something that's a bit more fashion-y like, you know? All right, let's see if we can add this one here. Right, I'm going to go with this one for now. So what we can do now here is we can change the color of this text because as we can see, it's not looking great in the background. So I'm going to click back over here. Let me snap this to the left. Okay, so I'm going to now change the color of my heading to something like that. So now it's easier to read. Now, this is where contrast is also very, very, very important. Okay. And then over here as well, let's make this darker. And now we can read that. But if you want to get rid of all this, you can always come over here to content elements, and then we can get rid of the show meta. And now it's just the shopping page. And then we can save. So what we're going to do now in the future is we're going to add more products here so our page can look well populated. And we're also going to make a few more customizations to this. Now, the reason why we need to end this live stream is because our time here is running out on Crowdcast because I can only stream for 2 hours max. So we're coming to the end. So anyway, I'm going to save this page now and let me show you what we've designed so far. So I'm going to exit the Visual Builder and let's go to our home page first. Okay, so this is the main home page. If I scroll down here, we've designed the footer there. So our footer is now on all our pages. Now let's move on to the Adventures page. So this is what we designed for the Adventures page. It's got all our images there. Great. Moving on, we also have our contact page. Okay. And we customize this to match our branding. And we also have our footer on our page. And now let's head over to our shop page. And oops, now this shop page is the one that comes by default with with WooCommerce. That's not the one we need. I think the one we need is called Start Shopping. There we go. Right, so this is the one we've just designed. And there we go. Okay. So if we click on that, it takes us to our products page, which we customized. And it also has the recent products here on the bottom, which is really cool. All right, so we're almost there. I think we only need one more session and our website will be completed. So this is going to be our part 3, which we will continue to do next week. And once this is done, we are going to package this theme. We're going to give it away for free. And also, I will also give it away to you guys if you want to use this. But the most important thing is that you see how this website is built. And of course, you have the opportunity to ask questions. And all those questions that you've asked are very, very important. So I really appreciate you asking all those questions. Now what we're going to do is on the last session as well, we're going to tackle the mobile views. So we're going to go in and see how we customize the mobile views and make sure that our website looks great on all mobile devices and all screen sizes. Okay, now if you haven't bought Divi, like I said, if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, I have a Divi Blueprint 3 course. Teaches you everything that you need to know about designing websites using Divi, and it's also updated. I'm also adding other courses or other videos to help you as Divi is getting more and more features. Okay, and also you get the Photoshop for web designers. Now this course is very good if you want to create graphics for your website. And again, we're going to be having other sessions where I'll show you how to use Photoshop and incorporate it with your website designs. All right, so pretty much that's all I have. Go to macuniversity.com/memberships if you want to become a member of Mac University. There's going to be a lot of content going on there. I'm planning so much behind the scenes. In fact, next sessions or next courses are already in development. So I'm really working hard behind the scenes to make this library even larger. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today in this session. Really appreciate it. And next week, we're going to do the final stage of our website design. And you'll also have the opportunity to go in and download it and install it on your own website. Okay, so I'm just going to take a quick look here and see if we have any more questions. Roland says, why would you use a post instead of a page for the shopping page? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Why post or page? Do you mean the landing page? Now that that I created from scratch, and then I added the modules that are added in from Divi. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, so maybe Roland is not in anymore. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you again next week. And also during the week, make sure you take a look at the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell notification. I'm producing quite a lot of content. And next week, I'll be talking about the latest feature that was released yesterday, which allows us to drag sizes and enhance our designs. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you very much. See you again next Saturday. Take care.